But there's a perceived limitation of CSI in that it's fragmented and that it doesn't have enough of a collective contribution. And one of the reasons for this perception, I think, is that there are different methodologies and different approaches that we see so often. Often between different companies chasing the same developmental aim, or sometimes even within a company chasing a particular development aim, supporting different types of projects or different types of interventions, and also amongst NGOs chasing that same developmental aim, often going about things differently, chasing the same goals. And it's not to say that different approaches aren't necessarily having an impact. I think they most often are. But we don't always know how much impact and which approaches are working most effectively on a cost-benefit, cost-impact, or whatever measures you use to determine that. What is the most effective? What is the leading practice? What are the do's and what are the don'ts? So you might find a supplementary education program, one program offering tuition in 5 or 6 subjects, 2 hours a week supplementary support, and another 3 subjects or 1 subject at 5 or 6 hours support. What's better and what's achievable, etc. And so we don't necessarily see that coming through. I think it's important, obviously, for the company and the NGOs that are working directly in that space to know what's best and what's working, so they can adjust and refine and that they're not putting good money after bad. But it's also important for other people coming into the space and other people thinking about going into that particular field. Currently, we're not seeing a lot of evidence of where these lessons are communicated and objectively analyzed and interpreted. If you read the reports, social reports of companies and reports of NGOs, you'll see a lot of emphasis on process and activities and less emphasis on outcomes and impact. And obviously there are exceptions to this, and there's some very good reporters and there's very good practice out there. So this is just a general observation. So you don't see analytics of what's working and what's not. And if you looked at that, you'd say, well, development's an easy game. If you read all the literature, you say everyone's sort of doing good work and it's all good. But we know that it's not. And on the occasion when Trialogue has gone in and looked at reviewing impact and reviewing projects, we often find things are working at a suboptimal level. Sometimes they're just simply not working at all. So we understand it's not easy to acknowledge what's not working. From a corporate point of view, you put good money in, and it's difficult to turn around and say, well, it's not working. It's a reputational issue at stake. From an NGO, you're obviously protecting your funding, and there's a sense of pride in the work that you do. But if extracting the lessons is part of the process from the outset, and if you are transparent about, and we are transparent about what the nature of the project, and one of the outcomes of a project is to discern what's working, what's not working, and refine things as we go, I think that there's a lot of credibility that will come through that process. It's very powerful and credible to say, we've done it, we've tried it, it's not working, we're not getting out what we wanted to get out. We understand that companies want to look for immediate solutions and immediate impact. And it's difficult to now, before you go and start spending money, to start thinking about things. But my belief is that by spending more time resourcing and researching and understanding leading practice before going into the development space, particularly if a company is going to be in that space for many years, and once in that space, investing in the kind of M&E that will actually discern what's working and what's not. And then allocating time and effort, importantly, afterwards to actually get those results out and share the results. Then I think we're going to achieve more with less. We're going to be more effective in our collective CSI effort.